Hello, good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Stochastic.com NFL First Look Strategy Show. It's Tuesday morning. We put week 5 in the rear view and week 6 in the... Where do we put week 6, Ben? If we're putting week 5 in... Where does week 6 go?
It's like on the table or something.
Yeah, but I was trying to think of like the opposite of rear view, you know?
Front and center.
I suppose.
Well, it's not in the future. It's now.
Yeah, but it's kind of in the future.
Not. Yeah, I guess technically.
I don't know. You guys know what we're doing. That's all that matters. Welcome to the strategy show. We'll put week 5 in the rear view, but not before we tackle a couple of issues first. Heck of a way to close out the week. Not to mention, you've got something that happened last night that I must say really disgusted me in that game. Now, good thing is all of my bets hit. That's all I ultimately care about. What's up?
I had the Raiders too, which was nice.
Nice. Yeah. I had Jacoby Myers over, Watson over. Actually, a bunch of overs yesterday. I know you were on Raiders as well. Raiders was good. Happy to see that. But Ben, before we do any of that, before we're introducing a new segment called Goblin of the Week. Now, this is a play on your word. You like whenever Ben DMs me, all right, with certain things that may be bothering him, more specifically, certain people that may be bothering him. He refers to them as goblins, that do stupid things, that say stupid things, that, have stupid ideas. Ultimately, they're all a goblin. Is that a fair assessment?
Yeah, that's fine. There are degrees, there are levels. Certifiable goblins, pants goblins. We're not going to get into that. Just goblins.
What are the levels? Just so we can.
Yeah, I mean, goblin is overarching. There are degrees, but yeah, that's a good way to sum it up. Just people who are doing things that if we extracted them from society, I think everyone would just gain an incremental bonus. That's the best way to describe it.
All right, so we're going to do all of that first. Quick review, and then jump into week 6. If you guys haven't looked at week 6 yet, now many of you are just jumping into the show for the first time, not looking at the week. I love that. I love that Ben and I are mostly just kind of laying a foundation here, taking a first look. Like you've looked at stuff, but you haven't really dug in as you would on like Sunday already or Thursday, right?
No, and I think that's, to me, a good way to approach it. You want to build out the broad strokes of what your lineups might look like, but I don't think you want to make hard decisions yet, because what happens when news breaks on Thursday or news breaks on Friday? So we're going to sum up what we saw and set the table for week 6 as it is front and center.
But before we do, guys, take a single second. Atone for your sins here on the strategy show. Hit that thumbs up. It goes a very long way for us. And subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so yet. Help us get to 100K. Maybe one day we'll get one of those pretty little platinum YouTube or silver, whatever the hell, YouTube play buttons, and we can see what we've accomplished. But no, aside from that, subscribe, hit the thumbs up. We really do appreciate you guys for that stuff. Goblin of the week, Ben. Goblin of the week. So this could be anything. This could be a player. This could be a coach. This could be a fan. Okay. Like this could be anyone. This could be yourself if you've made a mistake that you think is unforgivable, right? This spans all regions. But the reason that I brought this up and decided that we needed to do this is because every week, first of all, when we look back on the season, maybe we'll have recurring, repeat goblins of the week.
Yes.
Would Nathaniel Hackett have held these honors probably at least 6 times last year, right?
So it was hard to put on the sidebar, but this is the Nathaniel Hackett Goblin of the Week award. So yes, he's an honorary. It's
right,
his
or like
award.
it's a sponsored, like
yes.
the Gatorade something.
Yeah, exactly.
Quencher of the whatever it is. Yeah. Okay. So what is it? The Nathaniel Hackett
Goblin of the Week award.
Or it should be like Nathaniel Hackett presents Goblin of the Week.
Fair. Yes.
All right. I love that. No, for real though, the moment I thought of this, my first thought was if we did this last year, because I thought of this last night after crushing. I told you I ate a bowl of golden grams and a box of coconut shrimp at like 9:30, probably 1,000+ calories, and I just feel terrible this morning. Really let my health go down the toilet last night. But anyway, I'm sitting there just going, oh, trying to avoid the thoughts of misery and feelings after that Phillies blown 4-0 lead, right? And I had just eaten all this food, the plates laying here, the bowls laying there. And I see Josh McDaniels go for it for a 50, go for a 50. It harkened back to memories and nightmares of week 1 of last season with Seattle and Denver, Nathaniel Hackett's debut coaching game with the Denver Broncos, terrible clock management, all of that. Earlier in the game, Josh McDaniels elects not to call a timeout when they could have had a minute and a half left or more on the clock. Elects not to call a timeout, has 52 seconds now. Granted, the Eagles just ran down the field in 32 seconds to score a touchdown at the end of the first half against the Rams this week on Sunday. But that's one thing. That was a bad decision. The fact that it's 4th and 2. Now you can go for this at the end of the game, up by 3 or 4, right? Up by 4. And what you can do is, if you make it, the game is essentially over. Essentially over. If you miss it, the Green Bay Packers still have to drive almost 70 yards and still need to score a touchdown. If you make it, they still need to score a touchdown. It's still a 1-score game. And if you miss make the field goal. If you miss this 52-yard field goal, they have less yards than they would have to drive in the event that you would miss the 4th and 2. So I'm looking at this going, what a cowardly move, number one, by Josh McDaniels. But put aside cowardice or whatever else, it was just a downright terrible decision. Now, I know you had a personal investment because a Josh Jacobs rushing attempt could have chopped the millie for you, would have been like 50, 70K, and they decided to kick the field goal. Brutal. But the decision to do this, to me, puts him top of the running for Goblin of the Week, Josh McDaniels. They escaped that game. They got out of it with a win, so it won't be talked about, but I thought that was a horrible decision.
Yeah, I didn't consider it, obviously, because there was no serious thought that he would kick, obviously, because you already explained this. There's not much to really say. Took a 4-point lead to a 7-point lead, which doesn't actually help that much. It's not a 20-yard field goal either. Like, you could just miss, as he inevitably did. And Jacobs was running hard. And then obviously on a personal level, I lost the millie chop by 0.3 with Jacobs at captain, which was unfortunate. He's the clear winner. He could be the winner for the year standings of Goblin of the Week, because we're going to do that. We're going to write down all our goblins, and then we're going to do a year recap at the end.
Maybe a countdown, like 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then 1 is just
we'll do the awards. I do want to say this is going to be focused, of course, on the Goblins in the NFL. Mario Cristobal, the Miami Hurricanes coach, he doesn't even get to that status because he lost a game where all they had to do was take a knee in college, but we're going to leave that to the side. Obviously, I was really pissed off about McDaniels last night. Just a stupid decision. And even though I bet the Raiders, there was a part of me that really wanted them to lose.
Because of that decision.
Just to magnify, that was an incredibly dumb decision.
Absolutely. I'm with you. So Goblin of the Week, in agreement here from an NFL perspective, hands down Josh McDaniels.
Far and away, we don't even need to spend any more time on it. Josh McDaniels, Goblin of the Week.
Ellis asks, Laffy, do you still feel A.J. Dillon is the worst running back to get a carry this season after yesterday? First of all, it wasn't me that said that. It was Matt. And I'm not throwing Matt under the bus, because here's why. He wasn't good.
No.
He had 76 yards on 20 carries. He was fine. Fine. He was okay at best. Are we sitting? Has the bar been set so low for A.J. Dillon, Ben, that a 76 yards on 20 carries, 3.8 yards per attempt game, that is now considered electric?
Yeah, I mean, I was a big A.J. Dillon fan, and it just hasn't really panned out. And I don't know. I thought
Patrick Taylor, by the way, after his rookie season.
Yeah, I was all about him. I loved him in college. Great college player, but you know what? The Packers Packers are a weird team, very hard to gauge. Certainly Aaron Jones is missed. I think that much we all know.
No question. But he was fine. He wasn't good. Like you wouldn't look at that and go, man, I wish I had him on my team after last night.
Well, I mean, how many running backs in the league could you insert for 20 plus carries to get 75 yards? Almost all of them, honestly.
Most of them. Yep. All right. Let's take a quick look at week 5 before we put that in the rear view. As we said earlier, then it's on to week 6. We got a lot to talk about. This slate, guys, is weird. Wait till you see the top of running back. This is a weird slate. Justin Jefferson's not going to play. Devon Achane looking like he's out for at least a few. There's a lot. But bring the tiers up, Jacob. We started this last week. We're not going to spend a lot of time here. I just want to see if there's anybody that needs to be shifted after week 5. Dallas beat down at the hands of the 49ers on Sunday Night Football. Dak Prescott may just stink.
I don't know if is
he top half of the league?
Yeah, I think so.
Top, like fringe top half. 12th. Okay, yeah. Okay. Yeah. That's fine.
Yeah, fine. That's fine.
There's also not a lot of good quarterbacks anymore.
The Cowboys, I think, have to get knocked down to playoff team. I think they just have to. That's the first one that glaringly seems like they got to be down.
The Ravens, I'm not moving, and I'll tell you why. It was the Steelers coming off a loss at home. Mike Tomlin is a home dog, throughout his career, especially coming off a loss, has been very good. I still don't think I change Super Bowl contenders right now. Like you could, I like the Lions a lot, man, but I'm not willing to put them up there yet. I can't put them up there yet. I'm not putting the Dolphins up there yet. Am I wrong, or are you putting them up there?
No, I agree with that. My biggest gripe was I want the Cowboys down. I'd like to. Well, you know what? I'll save that. Go ahead. What else do you want to adjust?
We already had the Bengals as a fringe playoff team. I'm not moving that after this week.
No,
right? Like they're still not in. They're still not locked in. Cleveland was on a bye. Jacksonville looked good. Jacksonville's just so inconsistent is the problem. Like they handled the Bills in London. Granted, they were there for 2 straight weeks. They handled the Bills. I'll tell you this, though. If there's one that stands out to me, it might actually be that I would put Green Bay down at no bueno. Jordan Love's not good.
Jordan Love has some issues. No doubt about it. I'm okay with that. They are no bueno. I want to take the Raiders and put them into the Chikings category.
Okay, please explain why.
Because they don't deserve a category, and they're starting to be in that category where there's no rhyme or reason for what they could have gone with the Saints in Bizarro Freak Show. I considered that. Because the Raiders have some things going on that I like. They have some real pieces. But their coach is in the Chargers category now, where at some point they're going to lose a game or two that they shouldn't. And we almost saw that last night.
Okay, I get it. You know what? That's a good point. And I think a lot of that is just, what do the Chargers and Raiders have in common? I think their coaching sucks.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah. Okay. I got a couple others. Patriots have to be at the bottom of the bottom tier.
The Patriots are awful.
They're awful. They moved to the bottom.
They're the worst team in the league. Hot take. I don't even think it's a hot take. They are. I don't think it's a hot take right
now. They have nothing. And if you include the injuries that they have to the secondary, they might be the worst team in the league. You know what? I'm going to show you Bears fans out there a little bit of love. I'm going to move them up to no bueno, and maybe we'll get a maybe next year out of them, Ben, in the coming weeks, if they can string together a couple wins or decent performances. I'm not willing to move them up more than one tier, though, because we need more than one performance against what looks like a bad Washington. Like, I think I would take Washington and the Bears and put them in the same damn category right now.
Yeah, again, I think that's fair. you're going to see a lot of movement at the bottom because these teams are going to show signs of life.
Yep.
And ultimately, none of them are going to crack into fringe playoff teams unless they start to really reel off some W's.
Should we move the Steelers up one? I feel like they're going to be in flux every single week.
I mean, the Steelers could go as high as maybe next year for me.
Put them up there.
Fine. That's fine.
Put them up there. That's the biggest jump out of any of these teams.
I mean, they had the most impressive win potentially of any team.
Last question. Are there any potential bizarro freak shows that could join the Saints?
I mean, the Raiders, but they already have a home.
The Saints crushed the Patriots.
That doesn't get you out of that category.
Do you not think they're a fringe playoff team?
The Saints?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, definitely. But that doesn't, their true identity, though, is that they're a freak show.
Okay. Would you put the Falcons at maybe next year?
The Falcons are on the cusp. They didn't cover, which I'm pissed about. I lost by the hook. I'm going to keep them at no bueno, but they are very close to being able to move up.
Okay. Ritter had a nice game. Pitts was involved. London was involved. They figured some things out, but still a last-second win against the Texans. I think it's fair. If we see another decent performance, they get moved up for sure. Are we good?
I think we're good.
All right. Giants stay at the basement. Broncos stay at the basement.
Yeah.
All right. Let's do it, guys. Talking quarterbacks here. How about the top of the quarterback position this week? Going into an 11-game slate, Ben. You've got Jalen Hurts against the Jets, very expensive. You have Tua. All right, so listen to some of these matchups, guys, as we go over this. Tua against Carolina. Carolina is dust. The only reason whatsoever that I don't have them in the fire them into the sun category in our tiers for week to week is because they have a young quarterback. Like, that's the only reason. But that team, you say worst in the league. If Carolina played the Patriots, I think the Patriots might beat them.
I don't know about that, but
what would you have the spread if this game was in Foxborough against the Carolina Panthers? I think it's like Patriots -3.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
They're even. They're pretty even.
Yeah, that's sad. That's bad.
It's very bad. But you've got Tua against Carolina. And then how about this? I'm going 7K and up as far as the high tier goes. We don't have who? Josh Allen on this slate. We don't have Herbert on this slate. We don't have Mahomes on this slate. We don't have there's a lot of good quarterbacks that aren't on this slate. Am I missing anybody?
Russell Wilson.
I can't think if I'm missing, but you get the point.
Yeah.
Justin Fields and Kirk Cousins going head to head. But have you looked at the total? If you haven't, don't look.
I have not. No.
Take a guess.
Obviously, it's going to be high. It is in Chicago. I'll say 51.
Okay. I thought that would be, now, mind you, Justin Jefferson is missing this game, but still 46.
Yeah.
No, it's 44 now.
Yeah, that's a little low. It is outside, but still.
That seems, is this a weather game by any chance?
Maybe. That's very, very possible. Yeah, I mean, I know we're going to do our top three, and I honestly think these might be 1 and 2. What a great
wind and
matchup.
rain, by the way. 17-mile-per-hour wind and rain. As of now, it's still very early.
Very early, yeah. I love this game. How can you not love that game?
I know, but I was just shocked by a 44 total, dude.
I'm surprised, yeah.
Well, at the top tier, do you want to pay for Hurts against the Jets?
No.
What about Tua against Carolina?
No, but I'm closer. And it's not because I don't think Tua is going to have a good game. I just think that what we're learning with Miami, you can get multiple pieces of the offense and you may not need Tua because he doesn't do anything outside of distributing to a lot of different players. And sometimes the concentration of his targets, he doesn't throw the random touchdowns where it's like, oh, only Tua got those points because he threw it to the 8th level tight end.
Like take Tyreek Hill or take the run game.
That's what I mean. And you get
Yeah.
what, 80% of Tua's production?
Yeah, I hear you. I mean, there's Waddle, but Waddle has just kind of been the clear number 2 behind Tyreek Hill, without question. You know,
Yeah.
Is it Fields and Cousins at the top tier for you? It has to be, right?
It is. It would be
And then
Fields 1 for
you're
me.
pairing Fields with DJ Moore and Cole Kmet. I'll get into some potential pivots there, like Darnell Mooney or whatever, when we get later in the show. Stuff that's not going to feel great, but I mean, am I wrong? Assuming that weather isn't terrible, you have to think that Fields, Moore, and Kmet is going to be a extraordinarily popular stack coming off that primetime game, a beatdown against the Commanders.
Yeah. I mean, there'll be ways to leverage and change it up, but I'm not going to mess around with it. I like that spot for a variety of reasons.
And then with Jefferson out, though, it's going to be Cousins, Addison, Hawkinson, and Osborne, right? These
100%.
are pretty obvious stack pairings.
Obvious stack pairings, but ways to still, like, you know, you can mess around with it. You can go, as I always say, if you're an owner's box, you can do both quarterbacks in the full mega stack. You can run Fields naked. That's another way to be different. There are options.
For me, I think it's going to be a lot of Alexander Madison this week.
He could be a cool run back off the Bears stacks.
It feels disgusting, and I know Cam Akers got some work, but they played from behind all of last game. Maybe I'm wrong. It's super early. It could end up that I just don't have any at all. But Madison's $5,600. He's $5,600. We'll talk about that. But you look at the mid-tier, too, of quarterbacks. Sorry. Jared Goff. The only reason I mentioned Jared Goff is because I think he'll be a distant afterthought as far as ownership goes in this matchup, right? Against Tampa Bay Bucks. I think this is going to be like nobody touches Jared Goff, even though this offense has been stellar. And the reason I say that I think this will be the case is because you have Joe Burrow finally coming off a good game, and that was against the Arizona Cardinals, but without T. Higgins. He was very good, 300 plus yards, very good. You also have Matthew Stafford at 6,100 against the Arizona Cardinals, the same team that Joe Burrow just, was revived from the dead against. You have Fields and Cousins, who aren't egregiously priced. And then you have a few cheaper options that you're not going to particularly feel great about, but there are some guys down there. Jared Goff isn't in the best position, but I think he goes wildly overlooked. They do have upside scattered across that whole passing game. But the mid-range, I think Burrow and Stafford, we don't have ownership on a Tuesday. I think they get the most hype, most ownership out of anyone in that range.
Yeah, I would agree. So there's good options. I'm going to throw out one more. I don't think he'll be popular. He hasn't been fantastic, but Trevor Lawrence gets a home game against the Colts. You've got easy stackable options. They're coming back from a nice win, 2-week stay in London. I'm fine with that. I prefer Stafford, but I'm still fine with that.
How do you approach the mid-tier then among these 6K guys?
Yeah, I mean, I think part of it is just going to be what are you trying to do outside of your stack? To me, Stafford with his pass catchers, home against Arizona is a really good spot. Lawrence, if he's 150 ownership or something, would be my leverage. I'm indifferent on Burrow. I'm indifferent in Goff. I'm not playing Stroud.
Once you get sub 6K, it gets, oh boy.
Yeah, this is where it's bad.
Yeah. So,
Baker.
okay, you have Geno Smith. I'm mentioning him because that game could potentially shoot out. Like I think there's real potential shootout vibes in that game. What's the 46? Like to me that what's up?
Outside again.
I know, but it's still October. It's not December. But I get it. Outside. But still some real shootout potential in that game. No question about it. I'm just trying to see what the highest totals are. Rams, Cardinals, 48.5. Tampa, Detroit, 43.5. 41.5 Jets, Eagles. 41.5 Vegas, Patriots. 42.5 Falcons, Commanders. 42.5 Houston and Saints. 46 Bengals, Seattle. Bears, Vikings is 44. Jaguars, Colts is 45.5. Dolphins, Panthers is 48.5, but that's almost all going to the Dolphins. They're 13.5 point favorites. Browns, Niners is 38. Titans, Raven. Oh, that's the early game. Those are some really low totals for week 6.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're going to see some of that. I'm a little surprised, though, to be honest. And maybe that's an opportunity. I kind of like that because there are a lot of people that just go straight to the totals and will automatically go there. And it seems like it's more dispersed. But for me, I don't have a ton of in this lower range. Mayfield, Ritter. I don't even know if I want to do that.
No Geno for you? See, I think the Geno spot is interesting.
No, I don't think so.
What about
I'd rather stack Burrow and have Metcalf or Lockett types as one-offs.
What about Derek Carr against Houston or Garoppolo against the Patriots?
No. No. All right. Derek Carr can't throw the ball.
Yeah, that was all defense and ground game on Sunday. Yeah, not great. All right, then favorite play at each tier at quarterback. This might get ugly for us. We got the graphic, Jacob, for us to do this. I'll go first, Ben. I'll go. I'll go Fields. And I'm going to go. The Stafford stack is so expensive if you want to get Kupp and Puka Nacua. That is my one issue with it. I think I'm going to go Stafford, though, because he's cheap enough. So I think it can still work. And then I'm going to go Geno.
I like it. We're very similar. I'm gonna echo your thoughts on Justin Fields. He's my favorite quarterback. Pay up for him, no problem there. In the mid range, I'm gonna copy Stafford. That was the guy I was drawn to as well. I think that yes, the stack of Stafford could be a little tricky, but what I like about it is he's got Higbee, who I'm not just writing off just yet. You can mix it up. You could also go skinny stack and be just fine. So I'll go Fields, I'll go Stafford, and I'll go Ritter. I know that this feels a little chasey. I just can't stand Washington. I think they're garbage. Atlanta's in the dome again. I worry that Atlanta plays from ahead a little more, but once again, a very competitive spread. This isn't a 6-point spread or anything. This is a toss-up game in Vegas's eyes. So I'll go with Ritter if you really need a cheapie.
Hey, best game. I would say his best game as an NFL quarterback, right?
100%.
You know what I like about Ritter and why I have no issue with you going there is because Washington has been absolutely decimated on the deep ball. The deep ball has been a massive issue for them. We saw it against the Commander, or we saw it against Chicago. We saw it against Philly. We've seen it almost every single week of the season. They can't contain the deep ball. Now, does Ritter have a great deep ball? No, I'm not saying that. But Drake London and Kyle Pitts are at least guys that you want to try and throw to downfield. So I like it. I'm with you.
Yeah, you have options.
All right. Let's go running back. Before we do, though, guys, how sick is this? Because I'm going to tell you how you get a free week of all of our tools for OwnersBox, or for Stochastic by signing up at OwnersBox. Link in the description and chat. $10 minimum deposit, but they have a $500 first match deposit bonus. They have Superflex contests where you're playing no defense, but you can flex in a quarterback at the Superflex spot. They've had significant overlay that we've seen from them. And somebody took advantage of that yesterday, Ben. So I get a tweet. I wake up this morning. It's like 6:30, still a little groggy. Actually, he tweeted 7:30, so I must have been up and then saw this later. He goes, Lavi and Neil, thanks for running the Sims 10 minutes with 10 minutes to go on live before lock. Swap Devontae to Jacobs. Made 2 lineups in the parking lot after a softball game. Thanks, dudes. So here's what happened. We had a question from someone in chat about OwnersBox. They're like, hey, do you have a preferred way to play this on a showdown? And a couple of other questions. I was like, let me run the Sims, because we have Sims, not just DraftKings and FanDuel, but you can use the Sims for OwnersBox, which is huge for me because the Superflex is not an easy format to, like it's different. So I run it and I'm like, all right, and I sent it over to Jordan. I was like, throw this up on the screen. Here are our top 3 OwnersBox lineups, top 3 simulated ROI lineups for OwnersBox using the pre-contest simulator that we have at Stochastic. This dude in the parking lot pulls one of them, Ben, plays it, and hit $1,750 with a softball parking lot lineup that he threw in with a couple minutes before kickoff.
I mean, those are my favorite kind of things because it just shows the value. It's not just, yes, I believe in the projection of the tools. It's time. Time is so valuable. Like the ability to be able to, like, I wouldn't be able to play. I wouldn't be able to put in reasonable lineups. Let me just, boom, click this, click that, and I'm in. That's such a nice feeling when you can do that, like with so many sports going on.
And he binged.
Well, that also helps. But yeah, it's amazing stuff.
It was really cool. But guys, you're getting our ownership projections, our player projections, the top stack tool, boom bust tool, all of our top single game and showdown plays tool. Those are all simulation tools in their own right. The premium Discord, you're getting the lineup generator, which is phenomenal. You want to talk about being short on time? That is the best thing to use, or the lineup simulator. Ben and I on our podcast exclusive episode that we're going to be doing right after this, you're going to hear us talk. We're going to go over everything from week 5 using the post-contest simulator, see what the best lineups were, what the ROI was, pre-contest and post-contest, really break it down for single entry stuff. Come join us because that's only found on our podcast platforms. Been a really fun episode to do. But back to the original point, you sign up at OwnersBox, you deposit minimum of $10. If you have the means to do so, do more because it's a $500 first match deposit bonus, and they've had a ton of overlay over there for Showdown and for main slate. You're getting all of that, all of our tools when you sign up with the link so we can find you. You don't need a promo code. Just use the link. Question asked to me a lot. Just use the link. You're in. Boom. Get all of our free tools for the entirety of the week. Every single slate, you're in the door. You get to check them out, and you get to play on a great site with a lot of overlay right now and a big deposit match bonus. So check it out. We'll see you guys over there, and make sure to say hi in our premium Discord if you sign up. All right. So running back, get ready for this, man. Get ready for this. At the top of the position, you have $9,500 Christian McCaffrey. This isn't a tier break, right? This is like a tectonic shift where you just have the earth open up for thousands of miles until you get down to a $7,300 David Montgomery. There is I'm not even including Devon H.A. Right?
No, he's not going to play.
Not even including it. $2,300 difference between Christian McCaffrey and the next highest price running back. And Montgomery's going up against the Tampa Bay team that makes for a pretty tough matchup.
Yeah, I mean, you just don't really see this. This is a very interesting game theory type situation, not just because of like, do you want to play McCaffrey? I think we all know how good he is. Your lineup, there is no pivot. It's either play McCaffrey or rebuild. Like, you know what I mean? There's a different type of mentality when you're judging. Normally, when you have a lineup and you say, okay, I have one spot left. I have, $9,000 left. I have 4 candidates, 3 Nope, this is, you're either playing McCaffrey or you're not, and you're totally changing how your lineup looks. So fascinating situation. And this is not an easy test. I think, get it out right now. First time I've said this publicly. The Browns are going to beat the Niners.
Yeah. Oh, dude, you are such a Browns fan.
I don't like I hope they get relegated. I hate the Browns.
But
they are going to beat the Niners.
This is a team. You lean into the Browns a lot from a betting perspective.
Oh, yeah.
I've known you long enough.
That's true. 5.5 is too many. This is going to come down. The Browns can beat them. I hope they lose by 100, but I think this is a tough spot.
Coming off a bye week, too.
Coming off a bye. Everyone, they destroyed the Cowboys at home. Now you got to go to Cleveland. I know it seems like, oh, well, the Niners, they can't be beat. Like they're going to lose some games, like all teams.
But hold on. This is operating under the assumption that Deshaun Watson is good to go.
If Deshaun Watson not even is good to go, he better be good to go.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Not just active, but like good to go.
Yeah. No, he's got to be ready.
DTR had a tough debut, Ben.
Well, the Niners isn't going to make it much easier.
If that happens, I honestly might play Niners defense in every lineup and I'll pay $10K for him. I
Yeah,
wouldn't,
I mean,
obviously, but that could get really bad.
yes.
All right. So, but the problem is, would you bet them now without
No,
without understanding what? Yeah, you can't.
no.
Like even it's tough to try and steal closing line value because this could literally move to 11 points.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think you need to.
Yeah,
First of all, San
they'll still
Francisco
be
should take
dogs.
money because everyone, again, is just like San Francisco, they can't lose by anything less than 40. Like, or they could just have a rough game here or there. It's not going to cross 3. So, yeah, none of that's pertinent. Wait and see. But I'll have my eye on that game for sure.
I'm going to ask you more about the games, the strategy and kind of game theory of playing McCaffrey in some of these contests when we do our single entry podcast exclusive after this show. But because I think that's a really unique situation given that he's in a difficult matchup and he's also so expensive. But looking at the mid range here, I look down to the 6K and some of these 5K and less guys. Bijan Robinson against the Commanders, I think, is fine. I don't love him. Travis Etienne in this spot is good, coming off a ton of carries. Do I love him? No. I don't love Alvin Kamara, but I think he's a good play at 6,800. Kenneth Walker at 6,700, not a bad play. I like Kyren Williams a lot at 6,500. But I think the chalk is going to be Kyren Williams and Raheem Mostert. I think that's going to be the chalk. And I honestly might look to make some pivots to guys like DeAndre Swift at 6,100. Fade him against that Jets team that people think is going to shut him down. But we've seen that offensive line and that blocking. That might be a spot I pivot to. Maybe $6,300 Mixon, who's struggled. Really interesting 6K range this week, though.
Yeah, a lot of good options there. Certainly Mixon, Williams. Maybe he's an attachment to Stafford. We've seen him get targets at various points. Most likely, again, I think my lineups will really pepper from Bijan, who hurt me last week. I really like that spot. And he actually salvaged with it should have been a lot worse. He was still bad. And he's lucky he caught a touchdown late there because he did absolutely nothing. But yeah, this is a good range. It's a crowded range, and I don't think there's a clear guy. We'll have to see what's going on again with the Miami situation, but I'm pretty comfortable landing in the 6s and having options. You see, look at chat. This is what I'm talking about. Yes, the Steelers did not beat the Niners, so no one can beat the Niners now. Never going to lose again. They're going to have to cancel the league. They'll go undefeated forever. Never going to have a loss, ever.
Which comments? Like the Ben was wrong about the Steelers,
Yeah.
so bet the Niners.
So how did the Niners lose then? I don't understand. Something has to happen. If the Niners cover, and that makes them more likely to cover, then how did the Niners not ever cover? I never get that logic. So how did they lose ever?
Right.
What are we doing here, people?
Right. No, right.
And they might win by 40, but they will. Like, the Niners are a great team, but they're not immortal. They're not lobsters. They can be killed. Like, come on now.
By the way, have you ever seen how a squid is killed?
A giant squid?
Not a giant squid, but like this size squid. Have you ever seen how they kill them on deck?
No, I haven't been on ships lately. What do they do?
They karate chop them and they immediately die.
Like in the head?
Like right below the head. They karate chop them and their body goes from this beautiful fluorescent. It's almost sad. Goes to this beautiful fluorescent color just to pale, dead, nothing. Look it up. You guys, I urge you, look up squid karate chop and tell me that is not crazy. Pretty cool stuff. There's some YouTube shorts out there.
Niners going undefeated. See, that's a good take. If
We're talking about squid, dude.
You should actionably bet the Niners to go undefeated. That I respect.
Yeah, why not? But also it doesn't Niners going undefeated doesn't mean that they're going to cover every game either.
No, it does, because they've been covering.
Yeah.
Get with it.
Right. That was the whole thing I was mentioning. Like, hey, you don't want to. I did this on my betting video the other day. I was like, betting against Tomlin as a road dog, as a dog, especially coming off a loss, has not been a profitable venture for most people. It's like, well, it can lose because, you would never bet Mike Tomlin could never be bet on as a dog if he never lost, if he never didn't cover as a dog. And this is what you're saying about the Niners. But it still means that there are good plays and not good plays. Like there's a spread for a reason.
That's why they give them the points.
Take a lopsided matchup and you try and, even it out as much as you can.
And I know it'll be like, oh, I don't like the Niners. I think they might be my favorite team. I love that team. I hope they go undefeated. They are awesome.
I hope they all get hurt and on the
No, they're going to destroy the Eagles, and I'm going to so bask in it when they do. But they're not immortal. That's all.
Yeah. Yeah. Will McNeil said, Ben is so salty. Yeah, Will had a genius comment, and I like Will. He just likes to troll. Genius comment yesterday on my Josh McDaniels tweet saying, well, they won. Yeah.
Yeah, that sums it up nicely.
All right.
My friend, he's making a run at Goblin of the Week for next week, so we appreciate that input because it could be someone from chat. They're eligible.
Oh, so you're gonna put that up in the vault?
My man, I respect that. Making a run at it.
Which one are we putting in the vault? Which one?
Well, it's a collective process. We're gonna capture McDaniels. They won the game. Yeah, that's not how that works. No. What pay down running backs do you want?
See, Cornelius said he just watched the Squid Karate Chop. I don't really want to talk football. I don't know if I want to talk football anymore. This Squid thing is, I would just like you to look it up is all.
Fine. You talk about pay down running backs. I'll look it up.
All right, go for it. By the way.
What am I Googling, by the way? I'm going to get flagged. Squid?
No, just put Squid Karate Chop or how to kill a squid, something like that. It's pretty crazy stuff. So just to recap here, Devon Achane not expected to play. He's going to be out a little while. Raheem Mostert, $6,400. I don't really know how you don't have some of Raheem Mostert at this price point. I know you're looking this up, but if this was news that we had official news before any of this happened, Mostert would be north of 7K here, wouldn't he?
Yeah, he would be. There's no doubt about it. And that could be a price point that we can really leverage. Again, Miami, I know I mentioned that I wasn't in love with Tua, but I think we would all agree points are going to be had in that game. There's touchdown equity through the roof. Why do you need to chop them? This seems like a inefficient method, by the way.
What do you mean? How is that not? It's humane, number one.
Humane?
And it's amazingly, yes, they're immediately kills them. Immediately, they're done. They're gone.
What?
It is. They're immediately done. It's instantaneous. The lights go out. I should point out too, though, that Salvin Ahmed is healthy and Jeff Wilson could be activated from the IR. Does that do anything for you? Does that concern you about Mostert?
Not really, just because, first of all, it's such a prevalent offense. You don't need full volume. They're so efficient. I know HN is in a different category of efficiency, but no, I'm not concerned at all. I think health-wise, if we get clearance, you can confidently deploy anyone in that backfield.
Yeah, I think you're right. Matt, I mentioned we're doing the single entry show right after this, so it should be up early afternoon. It should be up by 1 o'clock or something, 1:30 over on Apple Podcasts or Spotify.
Yeah,
do you have a pivot? Do you have a pivot in this mid tier if we assume that a few of these guys are going to be mega chalk?
Where do you put someone like Kamara? Do you think he would be in the chalk category?
He's going to be mega chalky.
Okay.
They do have Houston, right?
Yeah, they do have Houston, which is pretty appealing.
I actually do like Kamara in this spot.
Me too. A lot of work.
And if you look at the snap count, don't even look at snap counts for this because Kendra Miller got a lot of work in the second half. He had 12 carries and 4 receptions. 9 carries and 2 targets came in the second half. That game was out of hand, and Kamara still had Didn't he have 20 carries or something?
Yeah. North of 20 carries,
22 carries. He wasn't efficient. I don't really care. I actually, matter of fact, Ben, this game in Houston, I know Tank Dell could be out with the concussion. No one has played after, I don't think, with it. You know what? Musgrave did, as a matter of fact. Musgrave had the concussion and came back and played, but that was a Thursday night game into a Monday game. What if this game shoots out?
Which game?
It's tough because
Saints?
New Orleans defense is really good. That's the problem.
Yeah, that's a big problem. And I will say, I do agree. They're not as atrocious defensively as they were. I do. I think that with Carr's situation, Kamara is just getting stupid amounts of work, and I don't think that's going to change. And obviously, of course, no weather issues.
Houston's defense has been better. I still think the run defense is suspect, even after last week. I still don't think they're elite. I still think they can be run on. Yeah, I like Kamara. I think he'll have ownership though, for sure, Ben. I definitely do.
Yeah, probably. I don't have a ton as I work down. I really don't see great spots. Chicago may not have a running back, so good luck with that.
If you had to predict ownership between Kamara, Kenneth Walker, Kyren Williams, Raheem Mostert, Mixon, and Swift, that's a lot of guys, but Kamara, Kenneth Walker, Kyren Williams, Raheem Mostert, Mixon, and Swift, they're all like separated by $700. Who do you think is the least owned? Because I definitely think it's Swift.
Oh, it's Swift.
Yeah.
Yep. At the Jets, that's just an objectively tougher matchup. Mixon's going to be popular. Mostert's on Miami. Kenneth Walker, Kamara makes sense. Kyren Williams is going to be an attachment to Stafford stacks as well as a one-off.
Yeah. You know why I'm mentioning him though? Because I think there's going to be people that sleep on the fact that he had 23 touches last game and 6 targets. He now has 31 carries and 10 targets over the last 2 games. They're using him in the passing game.
Oh no. Chat just mentioned your boy, the Foreman.
Yeah.
Maybe. If he's the only one left.
They just signed somebody.
Okay.
Who did they sign?
I don't know. DeMercado, yeah, I get that too. So he's what, 4,900? This guy on the Cardinals.
I have him written down as well. I don't have an issue with that.
No, that's fine. And he might be able to do some things. Like, we don't really know. Is he going to get like 8 targets? He might. That's very possible.
And Connor's already out.
Yes.
Yeah. He's expected to miss multiple weeks. Might go on the IR. I think that's fine. Foreman is fine. You know what my problem with Foreman is? He's been inactive. And this is assuming, by the way, that Roschon Johnson doesn't play. If Johnson plays, protocol. Yeah, I know. But they didn't play since last Thursday. Right?
Yeah, that's true.
So, like we saw Musgrave come back after the Thursday concussion. I think it's possible. If Roschon Johnson comes back at 4,900, I definitely have interest there.
Okay. Yeah, I'm fine with that.
I like Madison too. I do. I know that Akers is going to scare some people off, but I have no problems with some Madison at 5,600. He's cheap enough for me.
All right, you want to do top 3?
Yeah, let's do it. You go first.
I'm going to go with.
Wait, hold on. What are we using to distinguish the top tier?
Well, I'm not going to mention McCaffrey is just different. He's in his own tier, and if you can get him, he's unbelievable, and I have no issues with him. But I'm not selecting him. I'm going north of 7 for my first guy.
We have 4 guys there, or 3 guys there to choose from, right?
Yeah, I'm going to Bijan Robinson. He's 7,200. I know it's off the bounce back. It wasn't the most impressive performance we've ever seen. That's putting it mildly. He still had he had 16 total touches. He lost a fumble, but they still went back to him. And I think that's Ritter more likely is going to have conservative outputs. I'm not going to give up on Bijan, and he's not going to be as popular as he was the first go around in terms of last week.
That's fair.
My mid-range, I'm going to go to Mixon. Again, just kind of 25 carries and 4 targets. Can't deny that volume. Kamara, Kyren Williams, these type of guys, great plays. No issues with them. But Mixon at 6,300, I think makes a lot of sense. And I think I have to say this Amare DeMercado. There's just not that much down there. I look at that situation. I was a fan of him in college. I know that shouldn't factor in, but it kind of does. I've seen the guy play quite a bit. I'm going to go with DeMercado as that punt option.
If Roshan Johnson is active without any limitations, would you still go DeMercado over Roshan Johnson?
No.
Okay. So he would be your top low tier guy.
I think there's always, and this is why I lean on our tools to see at OwnersBox and DraftKings fan, what are we looking at? But if it was all the same, I would rather have Johnson. Mixon is very dusty. I admit that. But if you're going to give me 30 touches at home, I have to look at it.
Yeah. I agree. There's just nobody else getting the ball in that backfield. He hasn't had that game, but you know what? Once in a while, he's going to break one. He's going to break a crazy game. He's played 75+% of snaps in 4 straight. So, yeah. All right, I'm going ETN at the top. You want to talk about a guy that is just dominating backfield touches and snaps? 85 and 83% of snaps the last 2 weeks. A ton of carries last game. Had a couple beautiful runs against the Buffalo Bills. I think this spot is more than decent. Look, Indy has a respectable defense, but I think ETN is just going to be on the field enough to where at that price, low 7K salary, 45.5 point total, which oddly enough is one of the highest on this slate. Perfectly okay with that. The mid-range is tough for me because I think Swift, if his ownership is in the basement, like if Swift is getting 3-4% ownership, matchup, and all these other guys, that's a super intriguing spot for me. But I think right now I'm going to go Kyren Williams.
Okay. I get it.
Yeah. But you could ask me this question. I could give you 3 different answers. I could tell you Kamara. I'd be fine with it. I could go Raheem Mostert. I'd be fine with it. You know what I mean? Like there's a lot of guys that I'd be perfectly fine. I think Kenneth Walker's a great play.
It's such a good rate. Yeah. I mean, I'm just looking at chat. Maxwell said that Kamara and Kyren were the first 2 that stuck out to me. It's hard to push back on that. I didn't even, again, I chose Mixon. You have 3 or 4 guys I feel super comfortable with there.
Big time. Yep. I'm with you. And then at the bottom, you know what? Can I count Alexander Madison at 5,600 as one of those? Yeah, okay. You know why? Because I think people are going to go to Cousins and they're going to fiend for that cheap stack, that no Jefferson stack against Chicago. And that's going to be super popular. So, I reserve the right to change that when ownership comes out. But right now I think Madison might get overlooked a lot.
It's early. So again, it's only Tuesday. I think I might have some 3 running back lineups.
Okay. Just because of some of these prices.
I really like this range, and I would love to see if I can get Kamara, Williams, DeMercado style, like get 3 of them.
I was looking at the red zone single entry. We'll talk about this when we do the podcast right after this, but I was looking at that because I was live for a little bit because I had that Hurts stack going with Goddard and AJ Brown, and just some guys that were crushing in that late window of games. And then I look at the winner because I still ended up finishing, a decent amount out of first. But I look at the winner and it was a 3 running back lineup, Ben. I think
it can be effective.
A-Chain, Breece Hall, and name another good, not too expensive running back from last week. That's what it was.
Montgomery.
It was A-Chain, Montgomery, and Breece Hall. He had all 3 of those.
Yep.
And yeah, and it got it done. So give me Madison there. Let's talk wide receivers. Appreciate all you guys hitting the thumbs up and supporting the channel. We're almost at 100 here on a Tuesday. You guys coming in and checking out, this Tuesday show's first look. I think we appreciate you more than anybody because it's Tuesday.
Best. My favorite audience.
It honestly really is. You know what it is? It's because these are the people that love this shit as much as we do. If you're hanging out on a Tuesday,
talking about squids.
Did you watch
Niners
the video?
Undefeated? Yeah, I watched the video. I don't get it.
All right. Well, I don't know what there isn't to get, but
I was picturing like I think I'm picturing like the Beanie Baby squid where it's like the head falls off. Like the thing was like laying flat. I could barely tell that they chopped it.
All right. We hit 100 likes. Thanks guys. 400 people. And subscribe to the channel too if you haven't. So, yeah, exactly, Swoop. Swoop said what's not to get. Exactly. Well, it's pretty self-explanatory.
It's fair. I got issues.
All right. Let's talk wide receivers. The top, Tyreek Hill and Cooper Kupp. Cooper Kupp's already at 9K. Just, 12 target game, led the team in targets out of the gate. But Puka Nacua was not just disappearing. It was 22 combined targets between those guys. And the Eagles dominated possession as they always do. So Matthew Stafford in another world, in another game, could be targeting them 30 combined times for all we know. Obviously that's a stretch, but like 26 combined targets for them isn't out of the question. Tutu Atwell had 5. I think Higbee had 2 or 3. Massive target share for Puka Nacua. And despite Cooper Kupp returning and leading the team in targets, then you have Jamar Chase at 8,300. Massive game for Chase without Higgins last week against Arizona. Devontae Adams against the Patriots. I mentioned Puka Nacua. We're fine. And then AJ Brown at 7,800. Tough matchup, obviously, but he's just been dominant. And then Jalen Waddle rounding out this range at 7,600. But he feels overpriced. Like he feels like he should be mid 6K right now.
He does feel overpriced, but I actually like that he's overpriced because if it depresses his ownership, if you're going to give me 10 targets in that game, he could luck box into 3 touchdowns.
Yep.
I get it. I think that when you look at the Rams, guys, obviously if you're playing Stafford, you're going to want at least 1. I think 2 might be a little too dangerous, but maybe if you go full onslaught, and then there's just like some players I feel like we haven't talked about in months, like Godwin. I feel like he hasn't been on a slate in eons. He had 11 targets against New Orleans, 6,900. Those are the type of plays I'm going to look very closely at as we kind of build out this wide receiver rankings.
For sure. Justin asked, anyone like the over in the Miami Carolina game at 48.5? I think they
might do it on their own.
Yeah, but again, I think that's a pretty reasonable total. If anything, I'd rather just take the over on Miami points at this. This is what I did last week. I just took the over on the team total for Miami because my concern is that Carolina can't get anything going. Brian asked Lobby, can we get a freak show play of the week at each position? We should, not this week, but we should start that. That's actually defense, a great idea. We
got you. Yeah, we'll put it for our freak show defenses to close the show in a couple minutes.
Okay. But I like that idea. Each week we just do like the freak show. Like if you wanted to go straight large field insanity play, Laviska Shenault at 3K. He's
at the running back now.
He's the best running back on the Panthers. Dude, he is. He's the best running back on the Panthers. He is.
No, I get it.
But you can't play him yet. Keep him on your radar. Anyway, I'm with. So how much is ownership going to influence your thinking at wide receiver this week?
Again, it'll depend on my stacks. I'm not too worried about the ownership aspect of it. It's just going to be, where do I want to pay up? You know, when I look at my priority rankings here, I mean, Chase is just so good. But he's going to be very popular. I think Waddle's a great tournament play, though. I think we differ a little on Waddle. I like that he's overpriced.
Okay. My issue with Waddle is not that he can't have a big game, but it's that he's priced around people that continuously week after week put up big games.
It'll be his turn at some point. He's got a little Gabe Davis. I'm not saying I think he's a better player than that, but he's got that Gabe Davis vibe.
You know who I think could go really overlooked here? I think Mike Evans, because of that price point, could go really overlooked.
Yeah.
And Detroit's defense is playing well. That's a good defense. Mike Evans, though, Baker Mayfield loves this guy. You know, he's just excellent in the red zone. He can beat anybody one-on-one. I like Mike Evans this week. I actually do. I think because obviously DJ Moore is going to be the spot that people want to get to, right? People are going to want to get to DJ Moore. Michael Pittman's interesting with Gardner Minshew at quarterback. He seems to like him. But in this mid-tier, I don't love the mid-tier. I like a lot of the cheap options. I like a lot of the high-tier options. Mike Evans might be my preferred option here. If I'm looking into the future as far as ownership goes, I just assume DJ Moore is going to get steamed.
Yeah, he is. Because of Fields. No doubt about it. I don't have a ton else for you. I think, you know, I want to see.
You got to have a few guys in this range.
Yeah, no, I have some guys in this range. I look at it. A lot of it is stack dependent. I want to see the health. Like a guy like Amari Cooper. If Watson's good and he's very low owned, I could take him as a one-off or maybe a twist if I get to McCaffrey, something like that. Addison's going to garner a lot of interest, as is Osborne. Zero issues with that. And then going all the way back to the beginning of the show, I mean, if Ritter is going to have to throw and you don't want to play Bijan, Drake London had 9 targets. He's got 16 targets in his last 2 games. He's starting to get it together. I'm fine with taking some stabs there.
Devonta Smith is going to end up being the freak show play of the week that has a monster game.
He's like Waddle.
But you know what the funny thing is? You know the whole like squeaky wheel gets the grease type thing? With a lot of teams, that's not true. With the Eagles, it kind of is. Like if a guy's not getting targeted, they will eventually figure out a way to get him more involved. They have
that luxury.
Devonta Smith, you could tell he was upset. He wasn't involved like on an entire drive. Nick Sirianni came up, put his arm around him, and they talked. Dallas Goedert, it took a little while, but he was peppered last week. It's a tough matchup.
Yes, he was.
But I wouldn't be surprised if Devonta Smith ends up being the one where we go, man, you knew it was coming eventually. You know, he is Waddle.
That's what I said. Yeah, I agree.
I know.
100%.
I'm agreeing with you. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
Low price wide receivers. Addison to me, obviously. I think McLaurin could have a bounce back game here. Atwell, if you wanted to stack with a non-Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua. Michael Thomas, maybe 4,900. Drake London, Tyler Boyd if Higgins misses again. KJ Osborne, Josh Downs is 4,100. I don't think a $3,700 Darnell Mooney is insane because he's getting deep targets. He just isn't getting good deep targets yet.
That's the guy I wanted to mention as the Fields contrarian stack guy. He had chances to catch touchdowns in that Commanders game, and it didn't materialize.
I bet him at 7-1 the score too, and I was like, "Oh, how were you?" Like he had 3 or 4 chances to rip one loose, and it just wasn't near him.
Yep, that's my favorite pay down option at wide receiver.
Me too. Also, if Tank Dell's up, Robert Woods at 3,800, you could do worse. I'll put it that you could do worse if you're in large field tournaments. You know he's coming off a 9 or 10 target game again. Like you could do worse with that. Give me your tiers.
So up top, I mean, there's just so many guys to choose from. I'm gonna punt it and just take Tyreek. Again, I think Waddle, I want to see the ownership, but if you can get Tyreek Hill, you can just lock yourself in for 50-point upside every single week, even at 9,300. I think that's a spend I'm willing to pay for. Going into the mid-range, a lot of different names. I'm going to go, honestly, to Godwin. I know you mentioned Evans, but I'm going to go to Godwin. I think he could be my freak show play of the week. 6,900. I think someone for Tampa will have a big game. And again, I don't expect him to be on a lot of people's minds when you look at that. And then to round it out for me, I know it's probably going to be the same guy as you. Darnell Mooney at 3,700, just because DJ Moore is such a good play and he's such an obvious play. Doesn't mean that you have to pivot, but on some lineups, I will make that switch. And I like Mooney as a cheapie.
I like it. I'm going to switch things up for you because I like Mooney there if you're going cheap as well. But I'm going to go Jamar Chase. Can't go wrong with any of these guys. Jamar Chase, number 1. Mike Evans, number 2. Of course, DJ Moore is a pretty obvious one, but we'll go Mike Evans, number 2. And KJ Osborne at 4,400 is just simply way too cheap without Justin Jefferson.
Yeah, he's a good play.
Very good play. All right, let's wrap this up with tight ends. Not going to take long. Last thing, though, before we do, guys, you already know this. If you don't and you're new to the channel, click that link and open up the description. You're going to see Bet365, okay? If you're in Colorado or Virginia or Ohio or Iowa or New Jersey, most importantly, Kentucky, click the link, sign up, and take advantage of free money. Make your life easier because when you do, it takes you 2 minutes to sign up and deposit. All you have to do is deposit $10 and bet 5 to get 150. Or if you're in Kentucky, deposit 10, bet $1, so 10% of that, and get $365 at Bet365. All you got to do is sign up, deposit, and verify yourself. Takes 2 minutes. You're making $150 in 2 minutes, $75 a minute. If you're in Kentucky, it's $365 to sit down, move your fingers, take a couple seconds. The best opportunity out there for betting. You're getting on multiple books. You're always getting the best odds, the best lines, and you're taking advantage of free money when it throws itself at you, which is what Bet365 is doing. They're pretty new to the States. They've been international for a long time now. Pretty new to the States. How do they get people involved and interested? They say, hey, take $150 on a $5 bet. Doesn't matter if it wins or loses. Saying, hey, Kentucky, take $365 on a $1 bet, whether it wins or loses, does not matter. Link in the description and in chat. If you're not there yet and you're in one of those 6 states, perfect time to jump in. All right. So I don't have much at tight end. I'm just going to do it like this, right? I'm going to give you my tiers. Okay. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to give you my tiers because I don't think there's a ton to dive into. And I think this will save time for the audience and all of us involved. Upper tier, it's TJ Hawkinson. Okay. It is.
Agree.
Right now. It has to be. Mid tier is a little bit difficult for me. I'm going to go chalky now, although maybe I'll change my mind later and go Cole Kmet. I could see you going Higbee there at 4K.
Yep.
I'll go Cole Kmet. And then you know what? I'll go $3,500 Kyle Pitts. Finally a decent game. It was
How
gross.
can you not?
It is all the time. He's $3,500. And as I mentioned, Washington struggles big time with the long ball. He doesn't operate as just like an inline 2-yard guy that blocks a bunch. He operates often as a receiver. I think Pitts could have some big plays downfield. I actually really like him at 3,500 this week.
It's really easy to make that case. I do think he'll get some ownership because everyone wants to play Kyle Pitts, and now you have a reason.
Go to Logan Thomas then, but I think Pitts is a better play.
You can go to Logan Thomas. I'm going to throw out one more name before we get our defense. I think that Dalton Schultz is quietly putting together a really nice year in Houston. I know there's those receivers. He had another 10 targets against Atlanta and caught a touchdown. That's his second straight game with a touchdown. He's at $3,600. Tough defense in New Orleans. I don't think it's crazy that he sees good target share, though, in that game.
So then what are your tiers? TJ Hawkinson, number one.
TJ Hawkinson, Higbee, and Pitts, no doubt.
Okay, so you're going Higbee over Kmet, but we're in line on Hawkinson, obviously, without Jefferson, and Pitts at 3,500.
Correct. And now, favorite part of the show, close it out here. Freak show defense time.
Freak show defense time. Under $3,000. Now, we do this because it's fun. It doesn't really matter, but we wrap it up with favorite defense under 3K. I assume you have a real freak show defense.
Yeah, the Bears. If you want to be different and you don't want to stack the game, take the Bears defense. The Vikings fumble. They do stupid shit. It could be raining. The Bears defense is bad. But it's just another way to do it. I think that the prudent play would probably be someone like Houston, who's made strides and they're at home. But I will look to really roll the dice at defense as I always do. The Browns defense is triple mega mind genius, as Chap pointed out.
All right. Do you remember?
Purdy doesn't make mistakes. That's the problem.
Do you remember the team at the beginning of the show that you put into the Vikings territory?
Mm-hmm.
And
yeah, that was the Raiders.
I think Patriots at $2,600 could be fine.
Yeah, that's bizarro.
It's bizarre, but it's not crazy when you think about it. But hey, you've got a few Bengals, maybe even the Texans against New Orleans, Ben. But
I like the Texans. I think that's a reasonable play at home.
Hey, appreciate you guys. You're the best. Podcast exclusive. Ben and I are going to record it right now. Single entry, 3-max strategy conversation. It's probably my favorite show to do of the week. We keep it under 30 minutes. We review everything from the following week, apply that to this one, and talk about some strategies going into single entry, 3-max, 5-max type max. Follow Ben at JazzRaz DFS on the Twitters. Me at Laffy_D, LOUGHY_D. We'll be throwing our thoughts, analysis, picks, all that good stuff out on Twitter every week. Appreciate you hanging out. Shout out to Jacob for producing this one. We'll see you back here for the next one, guys. Peace.